Success is the steady progress toward your own personal goals. What then is failure? Is failure working on a project that ended with poor results? No, of course not. Is failure launching a new product that failed miserably in the marketplace? No, of course not. Is failure doing the best you possibly can with your kids and having them disappoint you in a very personal way? No, of course not. There's no failure in pouring your heart and soul and energy into something that didn't work. Rather, failure is not trying at all. If success is the steady progress toward your own personal goals, then failure is no progress at all. None. Not even trying. Success and failure are always linked together. Success and failure are always linked to ambition. And let's remember, success is doing. Failure is not doing. It's that simple. Tom Peters, world-renowned author and management expert, said recently, "There is only one way to be in serious trouble today, and that is not to be trying, not to be failing, not to be stretching yourself." Success is a doing. You've got to actually do it. Activity is high priority in the life process to try and get maximum benefit out of what we have available. Our resources, our skills, our knowledge, and our talents. Success is a doing that tries to get maximum benefit out of what we have available. Benjamin Disraeli, former Prime Minister of England, once said, "Nothing can resist a human will that will stake even its existence on its purpose. I'll do it or die." What a powerful set of words. We've already talked about resolve. Doing it until, but here's what else resolve says. Resolve says, "I will." Two of the most powerful words in our language. The formula for disaster: could, should, don't. Here's the formula for fortune: could, should, will, could, should, will. I will, I should, I can, and I will. Two of the most powerful words in the language. I will. The man says, "I will climb the mountain." They say it's too high, it's too difficult, it's too rocky, it's never been done before. The man says, "Hey, it's my mountain, I'll climb it." Pretty soon you'll see me waving from the top or dead aside, because I'm not coming back until I've done it. It's powerful. There are several studies that show the greatest achievers aren't those who fail the least. No. The greatest achievers are those least frightened of failure. They're willing to take on the challenge without the guarantee of success, seeing the end, but not sure when it will be or where it will be. Although success and failure go hand in hand, many people have a problem with failure. They think it's a bad word, has a bad connotation. They don't see it as a stepping stone. They see it as an end result. Quite often, success requires failure, sometimes many failures. In every scientific discovery, there were dozens or hundreds of failures before one success. Without failure, opportunity cannot be created. Without failure, there can be no success. What is the measure of success? How do you know if you're successful, really successful? How do you know? Especially when your success could be so vastly different from someone else's success. Here's how you measure results: making measurable progress in reasonable time. That's all life asks, making measurable progress in reasonable time. So you've got to be reasonable with time. Don't be unreasonable with time. Parents, don't be unreasonable with time. Managers, brokers, business associates, have a little patience. You can't ask somebody every 5 minutes, "How are you doing now?" That's too soon. The guy says, "I haven't left the building yet. Give me a break." So 5 minutes is too soon to ask. So 5 years is what? Too long and too late. So what is reasonable time to ask for results as a measure of progress? Here's number one. At the end of the day, you can't let more than a day go by without getting some things done. Some letters written, having a conversation with your son or daughter. You can't postpone the important more than a day. When you work on the job, there are some things you've got to get done within a day. You've got to make some calls within a day. Your health disciplines, you've got to get those done within a day. You can't carry over. You can't say, well, I'll eat 9 apples 10 days from now. No, it's an apple a day. Some things you've got to get done within a day. So at 5 minutes to midnight and you haven't gotten your apple in yet, munch away and get it done. Done a day. Here's what's next. A week. Some things you've got to get done within a week. Stuff on the job, calls made activities. A week is a good chunk of time. Can't let more than a week go by without taking a look and a measure to see how you're doing. John joins this little sales company. He's supposed to make 10 calls the first week just to get acquainted out there in the marketplace. Would it be legitimate to call John in on Friday and say, how many calls did you make? That's legitimate. It's legitimate time to ask for a measurable amount of progress. He's supposed to make 10 calls come Friday. How many calls did you make? John says, well, you say, John, won't fit in my little box here. I just need a number. Now, John starts with a story. You say, John, the reason I made this little box so small is so a story won't fit. I don't need a story. I just need a number. Now, here's one of the better phrases to take home. The numbers tell us the whole story on you personally. The numbers tell us the whole story. Success is a numbers game. There are 3 important questions to ask yourself in this area. Here's number 1. How much money have you saved and invested during your career? Second question. In the last 90 days, how many books have you read to invest in the miracle of your mind? Give you ideas to ponder. Fashion your future with meticulous care. How many books have you read in the last 90 days? Third question. In the last 6 months, how many classes have you taken to improve your skills or to develop new skills for your future and your family? How many classes in the last 6 months? I'm telling you, numbers tell us everything. Success is a numbers game. You've got to make progress. You've got to make progress in reasonable time. You've got to take a look at the numbers and see how you're doing. It's the name of the game. How often should you weigh the new baby? Well, you say, I'll weigh the new baby next spring. No, you can't wait until next spring. Don't you have to weigh the new baby often? And the answer is yes. Of course. To see what? To see whether it's gaining weight or it's losing weight. What if it's losing weight? The alarm bells have got to go off. You can't let a little baby lose weight very long. It's called disaster. These numbers are important. How often should you check the corporation to see if it's healthy or not? You say, well, in a couple of years, we'll get all the accountants together. No, you'll be out of business. In Las Vegas, the big gambling houses. Guess how often they put together a financial statement to see where they are? Several times a day? Why? So much is happening. If you don't learn when to shut down some of those tables, you'll be out of business by midnight. You can't wait till midnight. You can't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow's too late. You've got to know the numbers. What is your cholesterol count? You don't know and you don't care. You've just got your fingers crossed for the future. We'd better come and get your family and take them to safety. Come on, be responsible for the set of your own sail. Leave it to no one else but yourself. And learn to refine these numbers for yourself. How many pounds overweight should you be at age 50? John says, well, I've got big bones. Well, we'll give you 10 pounds sterling for big bones. But hey, 25, 30 pounds sterling. And we've got to turn on the caution light at home and at the office. Somebody says, what's that flashing caution light, Johns? Up about 2020, 5.35 pounds sterling. 5.35 pounds sterling. And the flashing red light comes on at home and at the office. Somebody says, what's that flashing red light, Johns? Up about 40 pounds sterling, 50 pounds sterling. And the siren goes off. Somebody says, what's that siren? John's over 50 pounds sterling. I'm asking you to take charge of your own life. Be responsible for your own life. Be responsible for your own retirement. Be responsible for your own health. Don't just drift along with the crowd. Those who don't care to be responsible about the number, meticulous about the numbers. Some of these numbers have got to be coming down like your cholesterol. Some of these numbers have got to be going up like the number of books in your library. Don't be satisfied until you've looked at all your own numbers and be responsible. Don't wait for somebody to come along. What if nobody comes along? You've got to be responsible yourself. Results are the name of the game. Let's check the numbers. Don't be satisfied with anything less than the best of numbers. Jesus walked along one day and saw a fig tree. Interesting story. And as Jesus looked suspiciously at this fig tree, he said to his disciples, "Does that fig tree have any figs? Do you think that's an important question?" It is. I'm telling you, for a fig tree, it's an all-important question. Does it have any figs? His disciples said, "No, sir." Of all the trees you were to pick, this particular fig tree does not have any figs. The story says Jesus lost his cool. One of the few times he lost his cool. Why, I think, to make a point. A fig tree without figs, it is unacceptable. Jesus said, if that fig tree doesn't have any figs, I suggest you promptly take it out. And he added, why? Let it take up the ground. So you've got to get all your people together every once in a while and say, today we're counting the figs. What for? To see who gets to stay. Why? It's the name of the game. Results. Now, what if your results are not that good right now? What if you're going through some tough times and aren't quite sure what to do next? You know why I do seminars and lectures and write books and audio programs? So I can attend them all myself. Read it again myself. Listen again myself. I don't do it just to hear myself talk. And I don't do it for the money. I do it because the teacher always receives the greatest lessons he seeks to teach others. What's the best way out of a blue mood? Talk somebody else through theirs. What's the best way out of a mental energy slump? Talk somebody else through theirs. What's the best way to start solving your own problems? Talk to somebody else about theirs. Why? Because when you start talking someone else through their blue mood or their mental slump or their problem, you'll hear yourself say amazing things. You'll hear all the knowledge that you've gathered come out to help this other person, and it will ultimately help you by hearing it again. It just works that way. It's often easier to tap our resources for somebody else than it is to tap them for ourselves. Sometimes defeat is the best beginning. Why? Well, for one, if you're at the very bottom, there's only one way to go up. But more importantly, if you're flat on your back mentally and financially, you'll usually become sufficiently disgusted to reach way down deep inside yourself and pull out miracles, pull out talents and pull out abilities and pull out desires and determination. When you're flat broke or flat miserable, you'll eventually become so disgusted that you'll pull out the basic essentials required to make everything better. And it's in the face of adversity that things begin to change, that you begin to change with enough disgust, desire, and determination to change your life. You'll start saying, I've had it. Enough of this. No more. Never again. Here's where the miracle begins. I've had it. Enough. No more. Never again. These words and these thoughts really rattle the power of time and fate and circumstances. And these three things, time and fate and circumstances, all get together and say, okay. We can see that we have no power here. Here we're facing some major resolve. This guy's not going to give up. He's had it. He's done with all this nonsense. We better step aside and let this guy get by. Resolve. Inspiration through disgust. But a lot of people don't change themselves. They wait for changed circumstances to change the government, to change life, to change. What'll that do? Not much. These poor, unfortunate folks accept their defeats and wallow in their self-pity. Why? Because they refuse to take control of the situation. They refuse to take control of their life, their career, their health, their relationships, their finances. They refuse to take control and take responsibility and get sufficiently disgusted to change it. But if you are disgusted, if you are making changes, if this program finds you in the middle of your own personal slump, then I have some words to offer you. Your present failure is a temporary condition. It is only a temporary condition. You will rebound from failure just as surely as you gravitated into failure. Somebody once suggested to me in about a failure that I should tell myself that this too shall pass. I firmly believe that you're only given as much as you can handle. As much negativity, as much failure, as much disappointment. This too shall pass if you grasp for a new beginning, if you pull yourself up and move back into the world with a plan. So as foolish as it might sound, be thankful for your current limitations or failures, for they are building blocks from which to create greatness. You can go where you want to go. You can do what you want to do. You can become what you want to become. You can do it all. Starting now, starting right where you are. A father talks about his daughter. She's gone through some pretty tough times, and as he tells it, she's a pretty tough person. He has a unique way of describing his daughter's situation, though. While most parents would be frantic even of their kids who are grown and gone, this man just smiles and says that his daughter is like a frog in a jar of cream. She keeps kicking and kicking and kicking, and pretty soon the milk will turn into a lump of butter and she'll be able to jump out. That's an interesting way to look at it, an interesting illustration of tenacity. But that's how it works. You've got to keep trying and trying and trying. You've got to have enough resolve to do it until. So be grateful for adversity, but for your future. Make it work for you, not against you. Make your failures give birth to great opportunity, not prolonged agony. Make your disgust lead to inspiration, not depression. The world will willingly sit by and let you wallow in your sorrows until you die broke and alone. And here's what else the world will do. The world will step aside and let you by. Once you decide that your present situation is only temporary, once you decide to get back on your feet and make your mark, the world doesn't care which choice you make, to stop here or to go on. The world doesn't really care. So you have to. You have to care in your own enlightened self-interest. Give a run at adventure. Keep your eyes firmly on the achievement, on your ambition, and not mere existence and self-pity. Make a commitment to excellence.